November 21st, 2006, 2 days before Thanksgiving. 3 officers would perform a no-knock warrant on a home that they suspected of drug dealing. This would take place on Atlanta's Neal Street, also known as The Bluff. The officers would cut down the burglar bars and break down the front door, all while not acknowledging that they were law enforcement to the people inside. A resident in the home would fire 1 shot and a gunfight would ensue. A total of 40 shots would ring off in the battle, and all 3 officers would be wounded. But what those 3 officers saw in the aftermath of that shooting was a real shocker. There were no drugs, and there was only one inhabitant of that home, a 92-year-old woman by the name of Kathryn Johnston. Kathryn Johnston was an independent woman that had been living in the Bluff for over 17 years. Kind and beloved by her neighborhood, she installed those burglar bars due to the rising crime and kept a revolver for safety. The shot that began the gunfight came from that revolver, but of the 40 shots that were recorded, it turned out that that was the only shot that came from Johnston. Furthermore, that single shot from Johnston was actually fired into the air, suspecting that it was meant to scare what she thought were burglars away. So all of the injuries that the officers sustained were friendly fire. In short, the officers went to the wrong house, and Kathryn Johnston had been shot no less than 5 times. This would occur because the officers acquired that no-knock warrant without doing proper due diligence, lying and attempting to get an informant to claim that he bought drugs from that home. They could have admitted their mistake and aided Johnson, but instead, they decided to plant several bags of marijuana in her basement, handcuff her, and allow her to bleed to death within her home. Media outlets will report this story as a 92-year-old drug dealer selling dope in the hood that decided to shoot it out with the police and was thwarted by the heroism of the APD. But the Bluff and Kathryn Johnston's family were not having it, all stating the exact same thing. There was no way that Kathryn Johnston was selling drugs. With the police's word against a dead woman's reputation, there was very little that could substantiate the neighborhood's claims. That is, until the informant that was tasked with lying in order to obtain that no-knock warrant came to the press and decided to tell the truth, saying that he was pressured by the officers into lying. Eventually, those officers would confess to their crimes, be arrested, and sentenced to 5, 6, and 10 years respectively. The case would result in the dissolution of the APD's narcotics division, but there was no real reform beyond that. And no-knock warrants exist to this day, most notably taking place during the death of Breonna Taylor. Rest in peace to Kathryn Johnston. My name is Pluto Smith, and this is Potholes in Atlanta, a series where we chronicle the corruption that is taking place in our beautiful but complicated city. You have yourselves a beautiful day.